Hey everyone, the self-storage guy here. So how many properties do you need to own in self-storage to be successful? Or, I guess that's really the kick, isn't it? How many properties do you need to own for what? So what's your goal? What kind of lifestyle output do you want? Because really these properties can come in all shapes and sizes, and how many you need, well, that's really up to you and really up to your goals. I mean, if you're going to replace a job or something like that, like I'm trying to do, you're going to need, something that's either you're getting a lot of cash flow out of it, or it's something that you're putting a value add into, and then you're going to flip it and it's going to give you a sizable lump sum on the back end, or maybe a little of both, so that you can go ahead and transition. But, it really just depends. I mean, if you've got, sometimes one, that's all it takes. These properties, especially if somebody's been working their whole life at this and they've kind of been, flipping and working their way into larger and larger properties, and they've been partnering on some deals and lining up some bigger type developments and other things, they could have a 1,000-unit facility. And then you may ask them, well, how many properties do you have? Oh, one. I just have one. And everybody's like, oh. It's kind of interesting. That's one of the first questions I always get asked is, how many properties do you have? Like, it's almost like a badge of honor. Oh, well, if I've got, 3 properties, then I'm doing well. Now, it's a vanity metric. How many do you have? 5, 10, 15, 20? I mean, there's different challenges with scale and other things when you get that many at the same time, but there's nothing wrong with having one property. And the beautiful thing about self-storage is that it is real estate, but it's also this nice mix of entrepreneurship and small business. And so there's all these different hats that you get to wear in terms of operations and leadership, and there's opportunities for marketing and budgeting. There's negotiation. There's all these different things that go into it, and that's one of the reasons I love it, is because I love to just nerd out on all these different business principles that I can play with, and so you can have one property and get really, really, really deep in the theory and the philosophy and small business and leadership and marketing and all that stuff. You can get your hands on it and do really, really well. And there's nothing to say. Maybe that's all you want. Maybe you just want to replace an income and you want to have something that's fairly low maintenance and gives you an opportunity to do some of these things and be nice cash flow for you. And sometimes that could be 1, it could be 2, and it depends on the size of the property again. But don't get so caught up on a numbers game, and it's like in self-storage, the number of properties you own. Well, 4. Well, that doesn't really sound very effective, because there's guys in the residential properties that and say, oh, well, I own 50 houses, or I've done 100 flips, or I have 300 rentals that I'm a landlord on, and it sounds much better. And so typically we don't get to numbers that are that high in terms of physical locations and storage properties. So, we've invented something else. It's square footage, right? So then I can talk about, oh, well, I've got 35,000 square feet, or I've got 100,000 square feet, or I've got, we go to that metric because it sounds a lot better. But it's a vanity metric. It's kind of like in small business when people like to tell you the revenue. Well, I've got $1 million business. Might not be making squat, but hey, I've got $1 million business. I've heard it said, I think it was in the book Profit First, that the author said something to the effect of revenue is vanity, profit is sanity, and cash is king, right? So at the end of the day, don't worry about it. Just get what works for you, whatever you can handle, whatever works for your pace. Again, my pace sometimes is a little slower because I work a job full time. And I have other considerations and people that I serve and that I support. So anyway, I hope that was helpful to you, or maybe it wasn't. Maybe it was just me rambling. But either way, thanks for watching. And if you have any questions about that, about our locations or any of the things like that, just put them down in the comments. I'd be happy to answer them. And hope you guys have a blessed day.